Welcome back to What's News. I'm Jay77. Let's get right straight to it. You should already know the first story that's going to be talking about the O'Reilly Factor, or the show formerly known as the O'Reilly Factor. Bill O'Reilly has been let go from Fox News this week. These when sexual harassment allegations have came to light. This stuff pretty much have led to protests being done outside of the Fox News building, as well as sponsors leaving the Fox News show, which led Fox to make a decision to buy out O'Reilly contract, and which I believe is the sum of 25 million, and basically had part ways with him. This was the talk of the week, because many people was wondering if they was actually going to go through with it, especially since he hasn't been on the air for quite some time. They didn't know what was happening. If you ask me, I don't think Fox ever wanted to part ways with him, but again, they had to make a business decision, and I'm going to keep the key word here: business decision. That was the key to them firing, being that they lost so many sponsors and so many money that came with those sponsors. I feel like this. Is he done for? No. I think that one, he is. There are syndicates that's been proven, news syndicates that are actually looking for his services, news syndicates that I will admit never heard before. No, they're not NBC and CBS. That should be already tell you what that is. These are syndicates that are not majorly known worldwide, because Fox is known worldwide. But these are news syndicates that are pretty much that speaks to the conservative group that they're targeting, and Bill O'Reilly being a conservative propaganda, in my opinion, newscast. No question they're going to try and go after him. The question is not about exactly is they're going to when he's going to if these news places going to pick him up. Like Newsmax is one of them. The American One, I believe, is the other one. But how long he's going to be made off the air? Keep in mind, even though they want him, they're not going to rush that quick to get him. He is, like most people, most news media says right now, he is toxic right now. They don't need negative publicity right now, and their strategy is let things calm down first. When things finally calm down, when things finally get brushed aside, then and only then we'll just pick him up. Keep in mind, he's not hurting. He has book deals, and from according to a lot of reports that I've been reading, they're not going to go away. He does have stuff on the back burner, and two, the guy is not going to be hurt financially. He is definitely going to be financially stable until at least all this thing blows out. Um, but it is a very good question of what's going to happen and how this is going to change the way Fox do things. Because keep in mind, he's not the only one that's been dealing with these type of harassment suits. They had the former boss of Fox News. He had to deal with the situation. I believe that led to his outing. There's been a lot of news anchors, famous news anchor, who have actually claimed harassment in their workplace. And with that, plus Bill O'Reilly, one can only ask. Should Fox actually look at their policies and look who's in charge and make sure that this kind of stuff doesn't continue to show up on the headline news? Because it really doesn't make them look good at all. I mean, they are what they. Let me make this one clear. Fox News, whether I like their format or not, is the top news of the globe. They've reached 90 million plus. That is a huge number compared to some of the other news outlet that wants to make a dent. For instance, the two that wants to acquire the services of Bill O'Reilly, One American, it is said that they are in 35 million homes. Newsmax, which is making a strong push for Bill O'Reilly, they are in 10 million homes. So it's nothing to sneeze over, but that's not nearly the number that Fox has, that has both cable and satellite, and even I believe they have even satellite radio as part of their anchor. So they reach a lot of people, and is able to actually flex their muscles from rivals who is trying to make a dent of their bottom line. Keep in mind, Newsmax is not in New York. Unless, at least I've heard of, unless you got satellite cable or something. And One America, I just found out who they are themselves. And that's the key thing here. And that's the thing that I think Bill O'Reilly needs to understand here. If he does come back on television, which I think he will, he's not going to come back as one in these big major outlets. You know, CNN is not going to get him. MSNBC is not going to acquire him. Not with the atmosphere that's going on right now. So chances are he will have to go to these networks just to rebuild his television status. And will he rebuild it? Of course he will. There's no question. The fans are sticking by him. The fans are emailing these networks. He's going to be back in full form soon. It's just not right now with the way things are going. Now for the big question. Do I think these charges are merited? Do I think that there is some weight to what has been said and what has been thrown out there? Because keep in mind, he expressing his innocence. He said he is being railroaded. These things are unfounded, and these things are not true at any way, shape, or form. And it's a shame that he's being let go over pretty much a witch hunt. In some cases, I agree with him. However, there's something that I think that that he doesn't seem to realize, and I think he's realizing now, and something he should have realized, especially not too long ago. Michael Jackson had not a similar situation, but something as even more serious that happened his way, and people stuck by him. The media went after him. There's no question about that. They reported him. He expressed his innocence right to the bitter end, but he did something that pretty much torpedoed his career. Pretty much has ruined his career in many ways that I think even to this day people haven't realized. Because Michael Jackson was a big name. When he made an album, it was top news. It was nothing that man didn't do either. It was weird or something that people loved to see. This guy was big news. He was a great performer, and any album that he made during the time from Off the Wall to Thriller to Bad to Dangerous, it was reported. It was the numbers, how much he sold was reported. It was gold. Right up to that situation where these allegations came up, but most importantly, when he settled. When you settled in the suit, whether you did it because, number one, you wanted to get this over with, you didn't want this to continue dragging on, you didn't want this to ruin your career, you didn't want it to become a mental strain on both you and your family. Fine, it's great, but once you sign that, to the public eye, even to some of your fans, they believe that's enough to admit guilt. Bill O'Reilly have settled. He reached a settlement with 5 women that was accusing him and as well as Fox News CEOs of harassment. That's all that people need to see. They ain't gonna see whether or not, because according to reports, the same thing with Michael Jackson, he didn't want this to be a mental strain on both him, his families, and those close around him. He wanted to move forward, move on, and that's it. What PA failed to realize is, once you settle like that, in a case like that, in a serious allegation like that, whether you did it or not, in their eyes, in that paper, you did it. Therefore, you're guilty. And that's what's happening here, right here. By him just doing that settlement, it could be unfounded, it could be not true, you could have nothing to do with it. But once you settled, people look at it as you're guilty. And so they're coming after him. And that's exactly what happened here. They went after him. And they got him. And again, like I said, settlements don't really mean, especially when you see some of the fine print on these settlements, especially with big corporations, when they said, okay, we'll settle, but we're not admitting any guilt. He probably settled, just not admitting any guilt. But he settled. And as the consequences, this stuff is happening. And what's very interesting in itself is, this was supposed to be a private settlement. This was not even supposed to be made public. But then again, Bill O'Reilly should know you're a public figure. Stuff like that's going to come out. It's it's very, very hard to say. Like I said, in some ways I think he was railroaded, but other ways I think he should have realized once he settled that agreement, this was going to happen. And just for the record here, for those who think that Fox did the morally right thing and the sponsors are doing this because of moral reasons, this was a business decision. Period. No more, no less. This was a business decision. They saw how much money they was losing. It was too much for them to handle. And Bill O'Reilly, rather being an asset, became a liability. And as the result, they bought him out. Keep in mind, he had a contract extension that would have kept him here, kept him at Fox for 2021. I believe that part of the deal still exists in some ways, but he's not going to be in the Raleigh factor anymore. Not with Fox. He may be somewhere else, but not with Fox. But they didn't do this because, number one, they believe in the Chargers. Even if they did believe in the Chargers, if the ratings were still there and the sponsors still there, they would have kept him going. They would have stand by him. But their sponsors did that to them. And the sponsors, they didn't do anything for morals. They said, look, we cannot have our brand, Nabisco, or whatever brand, especially brands that is catered to their target audience or women, be on a show that had a person accused of sexual harassment towards women. So what's going to do? They're going to do what you expect them to do. They're going to pull them out. They want their hands clean. So that was a business decision. What happened to Bill O'Reilly was based on business decision. This was not based on morals. If you think Fox News did this because of moral reasons, you don't know the business. Because I guarantee you, if those sponsors hadn't bowed, they would have stood by him. Because one, the ratings said they should, and two, the sponsor didn't leave, so everything was all right. It's when the ratings and when the money stop pouring in, that's when they make the decision. Simple as that. That's with anybody. Besides PewDiePie, just last JonTron from YouTube. If those who want to know what YouTubers are, when things like that gets too hot to handle, and they don't want their image dirty from when it's happened, they're gonna pull out. And that's exactly what happened. And for Bill O'Reilly, he should have realized this may have come. This may have happened if him selling with not one but 5 women under this allegation happened. That the chances are there's going to be a backlash. This is the backlash. But like I said, he's not going to get hurt totally from it. I think he's going to be back on television. I think it's not going to be as big as it was with Fox, but he's going to be back on television. He's still got his book deals. He's not getting hurt. And the man had a $20 million buyout. He's all right. But do I think it was a big of a railroad job? Yeah, I do. But do I think that this all stems from the stuff that has been going on with Fox for a year and a half, which some people seem to forget? That it's not just Bill O'Reilly that has been dealing with the situation. It's a lot of people in the Fox camp that's been dealing with the situation, that have came to life, even from some of their strongest personalities on Fox. Makes you wonder. In your opinion, I'd like to hear what you have to say about this. Whether you're a fan of O'Reilly or not a fan, whether you believe that there is some truth to the allegations or not. I know one of the women has spoken out. I got to see the video. I'll give my own opinion on the video when I gonna get a chance to. But to me, when you have a situation like this, this is gonna happen. He is toxic, and yeah, I know about America One now. I do, in terms of them going after him, and it's gonna probably be some more conservative news that's gonna go after him. But they ain't gonna. But don't expect him to be on next week. All right, it's just too hot. They're gonna let it die down, and then you'll probably see them on either one or two, or probably none. But eventually he's gonna get back on television. That man, retirement to him doesn't seem to be in his vocabulary. So let's go to one conservative mind to another. Alex Jones, a person who I just can't stomach, who has basically been in hot water. He's been fighting a very bitter custody battle, trying to get his daughter back. Um, and trust me, that's something like that I always dread to go through, even though I'm not married, no children. But I know people who are married children. It is a very most painful experience, not just for the parents, but for the children as well. No matter who you are, there's been some allegations that came out with him, not nowhere near as Bill O'Reilly, but it was something that which forced his lawyer to say something that caught the media from left to right, and that was Alex Jones is not what he is portrayed on television. He's an actor, a performer, a person who are doing this just for entertainment, just for ratings, just for money. And the reason why his lawyers have said this is because number one, his wife said that that person is not a stable person, Alex Jones, that he doesn't want his daughter, her daughter, raised by that unstable person. He is not fit to be a father, and this is all stemming from his antics from the show itself. Now, I'm just going to go out and say that this is what happened, what has unfolded. Doesn't shock me for one reason only. He is a performer, but he's a very dangerous performer because he spits out conspiracy theories to a lot of people who believe that conspiracy theories, and again, can even act out on their beliefs. We have a lot of guys out there who are so hell bent on what's going on that they believe that the world's out to get them, or they believe in a certain situation that common sense actually gets thrown out the window, and depending on how paranoid, and depending how vengeful they are, they can act out on that paranoia, on that vengeance. So, in many ways, this is the kind of stuff that once again, if these allegations came up, shame on him because he should know that what he says could be taken seriously to heart by some nut job who really doesn't have his all screws tight together. With that being said, does anybody seem shocked? And two, do you really think the people who listen to Alex Jones actually cares? They don't care if he's telling the truth or fake. If they're speaking, if long as he speaks what they believe in, it doesn't matter if it's true. I can sit there and tell you that everything what he says is wrong to from Blue Face. But if he says something that actually reflects what that person believes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He has his fans. He has his outlook. He knows what he's doing. He knows he don't believe what he is saying, but he knows that those people out there believes what he's saying, and they'll come back for more, and more, and more. Some of them probably know what he's saying is BS, but they don't care what they believe, so they're gonna keep going. They want to hear it. They want to feed it. They'll keep coming back. So this big revelation, and let me tell you something, news outlets, even Double Toasted that brought this up, but I didn't know Corey Coleman actually knew Alex Jones. I actually call him Phoenix Jones because for some reason he got the same last name as that superhero cosplayer in Seattle. But Alex Jones actually knows some of the guys from Double Toasted. It's been a long time. I doubt that he actually remembers coming in for dinner, but he even said that, hey, what he's doing is fake and it's as an act. And Corey fell out of favor with him because of how he said that what happened in the Sandy Hook situation. And anybody who thinks Sandy Hook didn't happen, I don't want to talk to you. That's disgusting. Plain and simple. But there are people who believe that Sandy Hook didn't exist. That it was all part of a show. And he was one of them. He fed that information to them. Well, he said a lot of things that was going on as conspiracies. But then again, that what made him popular. That what made him ratings. That what made him so much money, and that's why people keep coming back to him. I guarantee you. And I'm aware that he actually made a response video on his YouTube channel. I'm perfectly aware of that. But even if he didn't make a response video to it, even if he said all that stuff was how his wife wants and everything else, it doesn't matter. He still got his fans. He's not going to get hurt by this. The thing that it is going to be very interesting is how will the judge see it in terms of what he is doing on his shows, and whether that justifies him not having custody of his children. Keep in mind, that's what a big problem he should be dealing with. Not whether or not he's going to lose ratings. He's not losing ratings. But whether or not he's going to be able to have custody of his kids, or part custody, or whatever terms it comes to be. Because that to me makes more precedent than his show. And right now, it doesn't look like it's going to be a pretty match. It looks like it's going to be a nasty fight, right down to whatever alimony that she's going to be asking for. And if I'm Alex Jones, okay, do your show, but keep in mind what's really important, and that is your family, your daughter. Personally, that should be the more concern about. But again, you have the media. And I'm saying it very specifically, mostly left-wing media, just chopping at the bit at this. You knew Young Turks was going to talk about it. I would have been shocked if they didn't. Because he rubbed the Young Turks the wrong way for a while. Especially during the primaries. But again, this is the thing that's going to happen. A lot of them, from the Daily Show all the way from now, are chopping at the bit of this guy. He's a popular guy, and the reason why they're chopping at the bit is because they say, see, what he's saying is fake. What he's saying is not real. You guys been duped. We trying to tell you that this is all an act. It doesn't matter. It really don't. Because his fans don't care. His fans want him to act this way. Even if they know it was pretending. They want that. They want to hear what he has to say. Because 99% of the time, it reflects what they feel. Now, there's some who will be real upset about it. There's no question. I trusted you. Why did you lie to me about this? But I'm pretty damn sure a good portion of his fans will say, well, he's the best performer I ever have. Keep it going. I'm right with you. To me, that's not even important. Amazingly, they seem to talk more president on that than it was the fact about his custody battle. But then again, who knows? We'll know what's going to happen next day. Now, I'm aware that he has talked about it. I'm aware that he had mentioned it. But to me, it's relevant to me because, again, he's not going to get hurt. His fans ain't leaving him. But what I will say is this, and I think it's very important that I say this, is that be mindful of what you're saying on damn television. Perfect example is Sarah Payton. The reason why I don't care for the woman, I only like the woman because she kept on doing rhetoric that was very dangerous, and finally it came back to haunt her. She had never had a political career ever since then. That don't retreat, reload, and that congresswoman who got shot in the head by some madman in Arizona, which forced her to take down that sign and then forced her to go on some crazy, apology campaign, which everybody knew she was responsible for because she riled up the crowd. Her rhetoric to the point where one person took it to heart and decided to shoot her innocent people. That incident right there is the reason why Sarah Payton, while she's still in the media blitz, hasn't been as much political power as one may think. And she's been very quiet these first 3 months, and for good reason. Rhetoric, conspiracy theories can be very dangerous if it's spoken to in a way that implies hurting people. And that is something that I think Alex Jones should be very, very cautious with. He's not going to change his platform. I'm pretty much sure about that. But at least be cautious that what you're saying, especially since you already said you're an entertainer, be cautious of what you're saying. That many people don't consider that entertainment. They consider that facts in their own little world. They consider that facts. non-entertainment. And that is something that I think Phoenix Jones and a lot of these so-called, news outlets, whether it's the left or the right, should take consideration. I'm not going to leave it at that. Love to hear your opinion on that. I love to hear what you got to have to say. But I'm moving on to the mass transit and you know what? I'll leave that last because it's not that important. I've said this for a while, and I'll make this very quick. Be careful what the hell you put on the internet. More than ever now, be careful what you put on the internet, because what you guys know now, what we're doing, we're setting precedents for lawmakers to pass laws that may restrict or basically cripple the internet as we speak. If you think that SOPA people, whatever the hell they was dealing with a few years ago, has disappeared, you are dead wrong. The incident what happened with the Facebook, when this guy killed a 76-year-old man for no reason whatsoever because he was angry at his girlfriend. He later killed himself. To people actually beating up people just for ratings is sickening. And lawmakers look at that. Lawmakers keep notes of that. And so when they come up with another bill, all they can say is, well, this person did this on this video. He shouldn't have this. They shouldn't have the freedom to post anything because this is what happens. Too many people are using it, and they seem to forget their common sense that there are some things you don't want to post. Perfect example, a guy in New York decided to post his money of $70,000 on the web, on Facebook. That very same day he was robbed. Broke into his door, said where the money was, and robbed him. Now, one thing I might ask, why the hell $70,000 stuff inside a freezer? But that's another story for another time. You had the Kardashians. They were showing their bling bling, and they got robbed by an inside job. Now I understand that they was caught. Thank goodness they were safe. But she ain't showing off her bling bling as much as she used to. There's a good reason for that. You make yourself targets when you do that stuff. Stop showing your crime on the World Wide Web and thinking they're not gonna find you. All the FBI agents or the police officers have to do is say, hey, Facebook, I need that IP address. I need it now. This guy that's robbed the store, and we need to get him. Be smart how to use the internet, please. This has been a crazy, crazy year and a half when it comes to these kind of situations, and it's getting worse and worse. And I don't think people realize that we're giving the government ammunition to actually say we need to regulate these sites a lot more than what they already have. We tried their way, it didn't work. Now it's time for regulation, and these regulations may be more detrimental to us than a help to us. So please, I'm begging you, be mindful what you put on the internet. Be mindful what you do on the internet. Be mindful of your friends on the internet. But most importantly, don't let the internet rule you. Don't be poisoned by the internet. Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, any one of them. Don't be poisoned by the World Wide Web. And with that, let's go to something that was actually posted on the internet that these people should have known better, and that's the airlines. What the hell is going on with them? In the last week and a half, they seem like the airlines have lost their sense of humanity. You had an Asian guy getting beat up because he wouldn't give up his seat. He got beat up, unconscious, dragged out the plane, came back to the plane all bloodied, all messy, and they wondering why they're getting all these kind of backlashes. They still haven't recovered from that. They probably never will. They ticked off not just the United States, they ticked off the whole entire country of Japan. Or China, probably, I'm sorry. Doesn't matter what country it is, they ticked them off. Then to top of all that, you couldn't even do the most sensitive thing, apologize and investigate. You try to put the blame on this guy. Even trying to dig up dirt on this guy. Everyone tell you, and just tell me you didn't even see the video. This brings me to my next question: is why are you overbooking? Are you guys that greedy that you have to, strand for money? You are going to assume that people that going to show up? If they don't show up, they don't show up. It's cool. Okay, we have this person to show up. We got extra seats. Do you want to buy it? Yes. Or I sit down. But you're overbooking, and then you have a situation like this. What the hell are you expecting to happen? But it's not just this incident. It's not even the other incident, which this guy, I'm surprised he hadn't been arrested yet. That flight attendant who smacked the woman, nearly missed his child. Almost got into a fight with other passengers in there. Caught on video online, went viral. Now you got, this airline, I think it's United Airway or American Airlines, one of the two. I'm pretty sure it's American Airlines. You have this happening where they have to now make a statement. At least they were smart enough to say not to blame the passengers, what the other guy did, and he is still paying for it right now. But what the hell is going on? What happened to quality service on these airlines? It's bad enough you overcharge for a lot of things that shouldn't be charged by at all. It's bad enough that you have policies where basically it's saying that even though you pay for the stuff, tough luck, we can still throw you out for any damn reason whatsoever. If you're fat, you know what? You're taking too much space, you need to leave. Basically sign a contract where you have to sign a contract or you can't get on the board, because if that way you ensure that you can't get sued by any of your passengers, which I believe one of them is suing because one of the contract didn't require them getting beat up and drag out the plane. But this really is a lot of other stuff that's been going on. Overcharging for items, charging extra for baggage. You have a situation where at one time people were stuck on the runway strip for hours, just stuck there, which they filed a lawsuit saying you can't stick them there, you got to put them back on. If the runway is, if you're staying there for a certain amount of time, you got to let them go back to the airport and wait there instead of being on the plane for hours at a time hoping that it moves. You have rude customer service policies that basically let them do whatever the hell you want. No. And it's not just one airline. I'm talking about all of them. There's a serious problem with customer service, and with people paying close to almost $400 to $1,000 a ticket, that should not be acceptable at any means. No one should accept that kind of customer service ever. And the policies they make, a good chunk of them is because, one, they're too greedy for their own good. Again, there should be no excuse for overbooking at all. They have created a problem, and then they seem all shocked that people make a big deal of it. Of course it is. You create a problem that should never have been created in the first place. And I understand they said they have to get some people to point A to point B, some of their workers, but that's why you have a backup plan, which you did not have. Not a legitimate one. You know what that backup plan would have been? Have a plane on standby when something happens, that plane can go directly towards one airline to the other without having to stop. Problem solved. I gotta tell you, man, I never flown in a plane in my life. My family did. They told me stories I couldn't believe, but now when I see this kind of stuff, I'm saying, you know what? I'm not going to Europe anytime soon. Now, if I am, I'm going by boat. At least by boat, I can get a better service than that. Yeah, guys, you gotta fix your policies. This cannot continue. Your policies is hurting your image, if it hasn't been hurt already. What's your feeling about that? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Leave in the comment section below. I'll like to hear what you have to say about that. Final story of the day: the MTA New York. Oh my God, how much you guys have been in the news of late, at least in the local news. I don't think anybody cares about the mass transit out of New York and New Jersey, but it is something of importance here because I think it's very clear that a huge revamp needs to be done, not just in my New York City transit, but just in transit in general, because there's one too many accidents happening. Um, there was a power outage on Friday, which left a lot of people stranded with no air conditioning whatsoever. I can only fathom how that felt like. You had New Jersey Transit, their power went off, which left them stranded for a couple hours at a time, which led to a lot of the chaotic. And there's a lot of finger pointing going on between the MTA, the Amtrak blaming the Port Authority, the Port Authority blaming Amtrak, the MTA blaming Con Edison blaming the MTA. Can we just say what we've been saying for a long time, that our subway system is simply outdated? Some of these tunnels range from anywhere from 90 to 120 years old. Some of them go back as far as the beginning of the mass transit system itself, when it wasn't called the MTA. We have outdated equipment. How many times on the weekend did they have to close service or discontinue services to do repairs on the same spot that they just repaired on? Something like they're doing a patch-up job. They're not really fixing anything. These stuff has become an issue. These stuff has become a problem. These stuff has become the talk of the litter for those strap hangers. And now we're seeing it. Let's be honest. The MTA, with all their fine staff, they have a crippling system. It's been crumbling for a long, long time, and it's getting worse and worse. It's affecting the service of the trains in terms of being arrived on time. It's affecting the safety of everybody who has to stand around there. If you go near Washington Heights, they've been working on the one tunnel for a long time. It doesn't even near close to completion yet. We had a situation with the one line near South Ferry, and that was a brand new line, and saltwater destroyed it. It's completely gutted. And we don't even know when that's going to be opened up again, if it ever. We don't even know if how long it's going to really take the L train to be running back in. They said about 2 months or 6 months to a year, but we don't know. There have been so many options going on that if neither one of them is going to vote well for the strap hangers. But one thing is definitely certain: the tunnels, the rail tracks, they're outdated. They need to be updated. Instead of spending billions of dollars for a brand new station, one station, they should do a massive job on all of the tunnels to make sure they're up to date, up to par. But that's almost impossible because, one, we're one of the very few mass transit that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This gave us our staple of the city never sleeps. Or at least in some areas. I don't know if Chicago still does it or not. I know Chicago done it. At a certain time, they're done. The rest of the night, they're just fixing tracks, updating the system, updating lighting. New York don't have that kind of situation. They have fast track now, and that seems to have helped somewhat. But again, it makes you wonder just how much of effort they have done, especially when when you see so much that has yet to be updated or been outdated for so long. But this is the problem right now with the situation. Con Edison, there was a big fuse. The governor is looking into the investigation of why that happened. There was an incident where Amtrak had a situation where they were stuck on the tracks. You have derailments all over the place. Some of the granted was human error, others not so much. But again, it all stems to a very broken down, run down system. And it needs to be repaired. It desperately needs to be repaired. Otherwise, it's going to get worse. It really is. I love my subway system. Pain in the ass to get around when the train don't run on time, or they just not running at all. But I still love my subway system. But I got it. But I'd be lying to you saying that it's not outdated. It's completely outdated, completely. No question about it. It's completely outdated. Hopefully, good things will come. Hopefully, they were able to get their act together. Hopefully, they can actually figure out a way to accommodate people and actually do the things they need to do. But from what I'm seeing in the subway, it's highly unlikely. If you're a New Yorker, let me know what you feel about this. Because again, it is gotten to the point where it's already dangerous with the knuckleheads that gets on his train, and you got to keep look over your shoulders. It's even more dangerous when you see a station that is crumbling right in front of you, where you have electrical problems, malfunctioning on a daily basis. And that's the thing that needs to be addressed by the MTA and the Port Authority from New York and New Jersey. What's your opinion? I'd like to hear what you have to say. I'd like to hear what you have to say with all the stories that I've talked about here. A little longer than usual, but then again, the O'Reilly story was a major topic that I wanted to talk about. And again, you all may have your own opinion on the matter. Until next time, J77 saying take care, be safe, talk to you soon. Bye-bye.